Hi Alan, lovely to meet up with you and do some further work on your game. Covered a few points in this session. Just the starting point was much better than on your first visit. The way things were loading on the way back had improved substantially. Still needed a little bit of work, a little bit of tidying up, and we covered that during the bulk of the lesson. We related it to what the back of the lead hand is doing and needs to do, and obviously if it works correctly, the effect that has on the overall look of your takeaway and the overall positioning of the swing and the shaft from the takeaway onwards. So we needed to do a little bit more work on that. Now this next image here, this was towards the end of your session. I picked this one out because for me it's the best takeaway you made on the shots that you hit. It wasn't the best overall swing that you made, but relating to the move from setup to waist level, it was the best one you made. Now, before you made it, you were feeling like the lead hand was almost counter-rotating and working under, and you can see when you do that, the hands come in very much, the club stays way out in front of the hands, and the shoulders, the pitch of the shoulders, the body gets involved much sooner, and the shoulders are turning on a much more tilted angle than they would normally be. You know, these are things that we discussed during your first visit and again during this, your second visit. So that was you maxing it out, and this was the thing we said to you, you don't need to be frightened about overdoing these things. So the takeaway in this instance, after a couple of maxed out positions, was much tidier. The hands and the club working up the plane line in a much more appropriate manner. If we just take that back down to when the shaft's parallel with the ground, we can see that whilst that could still do with a little bit more, it's in a much better position than what we see at the start of your session. So, what are we looking at there? What have we improved? Well, we've got the shoulders are turning on a much more of a downward angle, much more of a tilted angle. The lead shoulder should work down. The slant in the hips is also improved substantially due to the improved leg work. And then from there, what we were trying to remedy was this sort of lift to the top. So from here now, the body doesn't really do a great deal, and the arms lift to the top. Whereas on this one, the pressure is maintained under the trail arm for longer. In the act of trying to keep the glove under that trail arm, so we're really trying to squeeze it under. That was the gist of the session. The other thing that we see, and we see here from face on, that there's a definite lift as you approach the top of your backswing. So that means that the lead shoulder has stopped working down, so we still need to work the left shoulder, and the lead shoulder, should I say, down for longer. We're maintaining the pressure under the trail arm. You can see the glove staying in place, keeping the arms on the torso. We just need to make the same mechanics for longer. Now that's relatively early in your session, so you made better swings than that. The issue that we have now was that the tendency is to want to push up out of the ground too quick. Because of the previous moves that you've made, there's a tendency to bottom out behind the ball, so the player wants to push up out of the ground a little bit too fast. And as you do that, the body stops rotating, the club gets catapulted past the hands. Here we're hitting out in front of the line. We went outside. Sorry about the brightness of this one, but we've not adjusted the camera. And when you're trying to hit out in front of the line, the thing we see is that the lead knee has a little bit more flex coming into the golf ball. Just take this to the top. So coming into the ball, we've got a little bit more flex in the lead knee. We're going into the ground for a little bit longer. And then we don't push out of the ground quite as early. So we're going down before we come up. So that will be the sequence of events that we want. Now, if we just run this through again a little bit further, the question we asked you, and I'm going to send some images across to you relating to this, was which player looks like he's moved in a linear manner more? Definitely the player on the far right, when there's actually, we've not discussed any amount of hip slide or linear movement at that point. We're just discussing and controlling where the club hits the ground, tightening the radius of the swing, keeping the weight moving forward. So more work tidying up the takeaway as per the first lesson, which was the marked improvement here on the far left. Nailing this trail arm to the torso, you can see that's a great position there. We can just curtail that little lift at the end. That's looking super. Second one across. And then learning when to go into and out of the ground at a slightly improved rate, just by tightening the radius of the swing, hence the cone that's behind the golf ball. And we talked about using the towel folded during your practice sessions. Good luck with it. I'll forward you some more dates and look forward to working with you again throughout the season. Well done.